Tudin, I love you. This is our first panel of Girls Who Print Day 2018. And for the first year, we have sponsors who are sitting up here on this table. And without their support, not only would the Printiverse not look as cool as it does, there certainly would not be any food over there, and there wouldn't be any food later for our lunch. But more important, there wouldn't be the opportunity to tell these stories and exchange these ideas that we're going to now. What does the industry need Girls Who Print mean? Well, have you guys walked around the trade show at all or been to any of these industry parties? You know, there is an opportunity to open up this industry to new ideas, to new minds, to new points of view, to new perspectives. If you're constantly around people who are just like you, it's harder to grow. I'm not saying it's impossible. The print industry is always growing. But with more diverse ideas, with more diverse people, with more diverse backgrounds and experiences, coming together, we can create a better experience and a more welcoming experience for everyone. So with that being said, I welcome you all to this panel. Jillian Ramos, first time on Girls Who Print or any panel in the Printiverse from HP. Jillian had the honor of being in charge of me last week at Label Expo. I'm surprised my mother's freaking out over there. That's lovely. She's like, she's clapping for you. You had me for the first half. She can have me for the second. Erica Switzer from DirectMail 2.0. Heather Poulin from Ricoh. And Project Peacock Pioneer from Canon Solutions America, Tonya Powers. Tonya Powers and I spent a lot of time in cars and hotels, not in the same room. And this is Tanya's international symbol for I'm on a conference call. Which I've learned, I do now. Conference call. Let's start with you, Jillian. Oh, well, actually, show of hands. Did any of our panelists wake up in college and say, I want to work in the print industry? Anybody? No. Okay, well, that's most people. I do a lot of podcasts through Podcasts from the Printiverse, and the first question I ask everybody is, how did they end up in the print industry? And besides Dante, who's in here, oh, there he is. Besides Dante, who started a print shop in his high school, where his vice principal was taking orders on the phone for him. It's the best story. Everyone has to listen to that podcast. Most of the people I come in contact with did not set off to be in print, but once they understood the vastness of this industry, they found a place in it and they've navigated up to the positions of the women on this panel. So Jillian, where did you start from and how did you end up where you are now?
Yeah, great question. So I actually started my career in print, in a different version of print, and it's been an amazing opportunity. So I started out straight from college. I worked in an agency, and the first client that I had was Kodak. And I was in charge of all the merchandising and putting all the POS up at the kiosks in the store. And so that was my first, opportunity to really see what the print industry is and could be. From there, I actually loved the opportunity and things that we saw. I went into a CPG company and actually worked as a product manager. And I found myself actually pushing in the industry to do, let's actually push the boundaries and do some custom line extensions with packaging. And I managed the packaging portfolio. And it was really hard to get differentiation from a brand and product standpoint with print. So, really pressing to actually, do custom flexo, as you go, and do embellishments and do gloss to be able to drive your brand going forward. And then from there, I actually did some product management on the photo media side and really saw how the print, the PC, all of those things and the paper actually work together. And now digital, where digital is anything possible. So it's been a really great opportunity to do everything across the board in print.
Did you mention what you do at HP now?
Yes, so I actually head up the Americas marketing team, and we are driving, yes.
That's a mucky muck position, people. So it's important to understand, everybody wants to say, I want to see people like me in these positions. These are these people.
Yeah. Thank you.
Erica Switzer, did you wake up one day and say, I want to sell DirectMail 2.0 to the world?
Not at all. Actually, I was in college to become an attorney, believe it or not.
That is why you can convince anybody of anything. That makes a lot more sense now.
Yes. If somebody told me, when I was in high school that you could make a lot of money in sales, I may have chosen that career path to start. But actually, I was a New England All-Star volleyball player, and I got injured my first game of my college career, threw my back out, and I lost my scholarship. So I lost the funding to continue my journey to become an attorney. My mother was living in Florida at the time, working for a direct mail company as a mailing service manager, and she goes, you have to come down and interview with this company. And I said, I don't know anything about marketing. I want to be a lawyer. What are you talking about, marketing? And she goes, no, they'll train you, they'll give you an opportunity. And I was like, well, I'll fly down and I'll interview and we'll see how it goes. And I did, and they hired me on the spot, and then I sold direct mail for 10 years. And, after probably around 2013, the company that I was working for found this product, DirectMail 2.0, and I was really intrigued by it because, as you know, there was a major crash and recession, and it was really difficult to sell print and mail. Right? We go from 2005, 2006, where it was really easy and you were basically taking orders, to the crash where you really couldn't sell anything. It was like, do I do direct mail or do I keep my lights on in my business, right? So it was really, really difficult and challenging. And then this product came along that actually integrated direct mail with digital, where all of the marketing dollars were going out of print, out of mail, and more towards digital. So I really fell in love with the product, and I ended up falling so much in love with the product that I pioneered white labeling it, and now I am the vice president of DirectMail 2.0, and that's how I got here.
Heather Poulin, it's been quite a wild ride, I could imagine.
Well, actually, I started in the print industry when I interned at Ricoh. When I was in college, yes, my father worked for Ricoh, so I started off there, and I worked just like helping them with, he was in IT, so it was not super exciting, but I helped with those projects. And then after I got out of college, my first job out of college was back with Ricoh, doing some marketing there. So throughout my career, I've kind of gone into different industries. I've always been drawn to print and publishing, so when the opportunity came around to come back, I came back. I worked for OSE for quite a while. I worked with Tonya at Canon, and then I found my way back to Ricoh, so it's kind of been a full circle. I handle marketing for our commercial and industrial print group, so my team handles all outbound marketing activities.
And what is your title, Heather?
Manager of Strategic Business Development.
T-Pow.
Hello, Deborah. Good morning. So, how did I get into the industry?
Camera.
So, no, I did not envision myself in the printing market as I was going through college. I wasn't really sure. I think many people weren't sure what they really wanted to do, but you get into college, you start exploring new different things and narrowing down options, and I found a love for business and specifically marketing. So I just kind of gravitated towards all things marketing and loved the idea of, building a brand and connecting with people, a community, a market. So I gravitated towards that. But my first job out of college ended up being in an industry probably with even fewer women than, the print industry seems to think they have few women. I was in fuel management systems. So, usually the only female around in many of our sales and marketing meetings. So I was in the industry for several years, and I really did learn a lot. I learned a whole lot about technology. They were a B2B business, building a technology, very unique, niche market. Learned a lot about building that brand and identifying, growth areas to build the business and move it out more commercially. So a lot of value came from that and the people there. But I decided I'd reached a point where I might have maxed my opportunity in that business. You make those decisions, you realize this is it for me, and you have to make those choices. So I made a bold move at the time to move to Atlanta, where I knew no one. And I ended up ultimately interviewing for a little company called Cytex Vision, which became HP Cytex shortly after I was hired on. So became very immersed in the print industry, and specifically on the large format side, which I absolutely adore. I'm not on it right now, but I really love large format. They do really cool things, and I want to get back to that if I can. Just fun. So
that would make me very happy.
I know, it's so fun. But they just do beautiful things with paper and packaging and your experience with it. But I moved over to the Indigo side actually, and ultimately was doing segment marketing managing there, and we helped be a part of launching the inkjet press on that side. But an opportunity came up to make the move to Canon a few years ago. So I've been with Canon Solutions America for a little over 7 years now, and worked briefly with Heather at part of that time. And I've kind of grown and evolved into the marketing team there. We do believe in always looking at the team and assessing and understanding where our business is, the people we have, and really making sure we're utilizing the best of our people. So there's a constant evolution of our team, as you know, Deborah.
Yes.
So
go ahead.
Ultimately, I've evolved into the senior manager for our go-to-market team. So I manage all the outbound marketing materials, events, activities, Legion, those types of things that are happening from our standpoint.
And that's a recent promotion, so congratulations,
Thank you.
Tonya Powers.
Thank you.
Couple of interesting observations. Notice that a lot of these people worked at the same companies, and then they worked at other companies. So when they say don't burn bridges in print, this is why. There's a limited pool of opportunity. So luckily I sit out of that so I can burn bridges, Brian Dollard. I know he's looking at me like, Deb, come on, Deb. You said something that's very interesting, Tonya Powers, and I want to elaborate that on a bit. I'm not talking about a formal hiring process here, because a formal hiring process is handled formally for these companies through their formal channels. This is not what I'm referring to. But even on a job description, which is so forensic in a lot of ways, what I'm really interested in discussing now are what are the actual skills we're looking for in people that you want to build a team with? Jillian, would you like to start, please?
Absolutely. I think, one of the things that I've really taken as part of my career, because I've done so much, right? Worked at different CPGs companies, worked at print companies, worked with media partners. I think you really need that diverse background of the product management, the sales, the category, digital. All of those types of things are skills that you're going to need. And I think the biggest thing is leadership. I don't think any of the ladies on this panel today, you have to be strong, and you have to have those leadership, and you have to be willing to go out and look for those opportunities and collaborate, right? That is such a big piece of career management and things that you need to do for yourself, and keep challenging yourself to grow and really take those challenging roles. Some of the best opportunities that have ever come to me have been from actually taking those challenging roles, which I was actually a little nervous on. Could I do it? Can I rise to the challenge, right? And that's where you actually find growth, when you're very nervous and uncomfortable. And leverage your peers, right? Supporting women, men, anyone from that standpoint, reach out across the aisles and collaborate. That would be my biggest, in getting that diverse experience.
Thank you so much. Erica.
So what we look for as a company in the hiring process are self-starters, people who are self-driven, that don't need to be micromanaged, and also people with a backbone. You really need to have some, internal strength, as Jillian said, to work in this industry, especially if you are a female. It's a lot. It's very challenging. to work in this industry as a female, and as a male not having prior connections. If you look around, there are a lot of established relationships in the print industry. A lot of people, start at an organization, make it full circle back around to the organization. And being a new product in this realm and in this industry, you have to kind of break through that barrier of, 20, 30, 40 plus years of relationships.
Of golf games.
Yeah, golf games. And I am not good at golf. Top golf I like. I'm not good at golf. But actually penetrating and making those new connections in an industry where there really is a lot of deep-rooted connections that have lasted a long time. So I would say that would be what we were looking for.
Thanks, Erica. Heather, what kind of skills are you looking for to build team building? Who do you want to be surrounded by?
So I think it's really important for people to be passionate. So whether they're in the print industry or they're in a different industry, if you're passionate about something, you can learn it and not be afraid to make decisions. I think it applies to anybody, but especially for women, I think it's very important to have people on your team who have a voice, or you can encourage them to use their voice. I think especially as women, a lot of times we lose that, or we're afraid to use it. So I think that finding people who are passionate, they're willing to learn, they're willing to make mistakes as part of that learning process. I think that's really primarily what we look for, because the industry, no matter which industry you're in, people can learn and they can be taught.
Thank you so much. Tonya Powers.
Thank you. So they've all said, obviously these are very important things to look for. A lot of intangibles that are out there that really can help build a strong team. You have the knowledge or experience, that's great, but there's a lot of intangibles that can really build the team or break a team. So definitely the attitude and effort. You've got to have a positive attitude. Sure, all days don't work the way you have them planned. You got to look to, at the end of the day, these things must get done. How are we going to, as a team, going to make this happen? We need to achieve our goals. Let's focus on what we can do. So that attitude, that can-do attitude, and focusing on the positive in adversity, which is oftentimes. So we really look for things like that. And again, not being afraid to make mistakes. It's okay to, no one has all the answers. That's why we have a team of people. You build a team of people and they all come from different backgrounds. They all have different insights, and they're going to all bring something to the table. So be willing to reach out to your peers and let them know, I don't know this, I need help. And if you build that team right, they're all going to be there because they all want you to succeed.
Thank you, Tonya Powers. So it's in listening to what you lovely girls who print just said, I'm hearing, you're giving advice and you're saying to people they need to develop their backbone and find their voice. So my question is, how did you find your voice, Jillian?
I think my voice came when I came out of the womb, but, and I'm slowly learning that from my daughter as well. But no, I think it's, as you go through life and you have experiences, right, you find yourself and surround yourself with strong mentors, strong men, women, people of different industries and background, and really, reach out to really understand from that standpoint. And I think, you said it very well in terms of don't be afraid to make mistakes. There's, again, taking those roles, taking those mistakes are the biggest things. And I think the biggest piece that I could say, especially in these types of environments, and, we're in, while I do love, the fact that it's the only place you can probably go and not have a huge bathroom line,
right.
I do want to see more women in the industry, from that standpoint. And I think you need to be able to, stand up and, have those hard conversations, right? Those hard conversations are going to be the ones that you finally, the light bulb goes on and you're suddenly connecting and clicking with those around you, your team, your, sales, your category, whomever it may be, your product management team. And just don't be afraid, right, to have those conversations in a constructive way, right? Because I come from, prior to this, CPG, and it was very one of those things where adversity and challenging topics is how you get a better outcome. So just don't be scared of that. And there's no negative stigma around that, right? You need to be able to feel that you can have those conversations, and that'll help you ultimately have your voice. And make sure your management and teams and peers have your back. right? That's a key piece to finding your voice too, is making sure that you have that support, right? When you do face those hard conversations and you do need to stand up to things.
Thanks. Erica, something tells me you had your voice a long time like Jillian.
I was born with my voice as well. I actually have been told that I need to lower the decibels on my voice.
My sound guy agrees, by the way.
I've always been very outspoken, but one of the things is coming into, an industry without having the education or background, as I said, I wasn't able to finish college. That was intimidating, and I had some awesome mentors. The owner of the organization that I worked for, coming straight out of college, she really built me up and taught me a lot about how to be a woman in this industry, and her story is so great and empowering. She was a high school dropout, and now she owns a multi-million-dollar commercial printing company. So she was really inspiring. Her senior executives were really inspiring. And one of the a piece of advice that I would give is, if you are intimidating, look for those women in this industry who are standing on their own 2 feet, because we will grab your hand and pick you up and show you the ropes. As you can hear from all these ladies on the panel, it sounds like we're all saying the same thing, but we want to help women rise in this industry as well.
And Girls Who Print, the organization, is stepping up to do just this, to try to marry people who need help with people who are willing to offer help, and to get them into print shops and into your companies, and to see the opportunities, women and diversity of all kinds, whatever gender you are or however you identify. We need more different, everyone, it's so funny, the print industry talks about differentiation. Oh, everyone has to be different and differentiate themselves, but look around, we don't have a lot of variable data going on here, do we? Heather, how do you find your voice?
So I was not born with my voice like these two ladies. I had to find it, but I was lucky enough to have really good mentors, both men and women in the industry, who, again, I think, we've already mentioned it, when you have a manager who will stand behind you, even when you make a mistake, I think that's very important. I think feeling empowered, being in a company and an organization that will empower their employees to make decisions and move forward is really important. So no matter what industry you're in, when you're looking for an employment opportunity, that's something that you should take into consideration. Are their employees empowered to grow and to make their own decisions?
Tonya Powers.
All right. So similar to Heather, yes, I don't know if I think I found my voice along the way. And really it came from, similar to Heather again, I just found myself, as I moved into this industry, there was a lot of characters, but a lot of people who care. That's the beauty of this community, I've learned, is just that people really care. They're very genuine, and they're there to help each other out. And so I've been able to find a variety of mentors, whether they knew it or not, whether I was working with them on one of my teams or customers that just really kind of took a hold of me, embraced me, and helped educate me in this industry. So I've been very fortunate to find a lot of really great people, but I think it's because, I was out there reaching out to them because I knew I had a lot to learn. I was new to the industry, so I reached out and put myself well outside of my comfort zone, and made those networking dinners and luncheons and things like that. Got out there socially and started being a little more proactive and reaching out people and building the connections. And we're really trying to look to help across the industry do that as well. From the Canon perspective, we've started reaching out through like Millennial Advisory Council that we established, which we all have a lot of women on that. I've got quite a few here in my audience, that some are on my team, and they're helping educate us from that perspective on how do we stay relevant from a younger group, male or female. So really taking a lot of that advice, because we have a lot to learn from them. They have a lot to learn from us, and we're really kind of opening that. And what I loved about the first thing that came away from their very first advisory council meeting was, we want mentorship. So they know they need that help too. So they asked for that, and they've identified mentors, one-on-one and mentors across the board. Two of them on my team reached out outside of Canon and identified women that they respected within the print industry. So two different women leaders in the print industry that now have opened up their arms and are providing that mentorship to these younger groups that are coming to this industry. So it's been very exciting. So we've been trying to work and expand in ways that we can reach out to women in the industry.
And Tonya and I had the privilege of speaking at Clemson University to the print sales class, and a few of the students wrote us handwritten notes.
Yes.
And they reached back out and they stayed in touch. As a matter of fact, I keep running into them. And some of them have jobs in print shops. I
know, it's exciting.
So Kiki from SPC Communications
Yes.
is over there now with in the workforce thing, helping entice people to the opportunities in the print industry. Which brings me to this. A lot of times you hear people who aren't always represented, I'm trying to say it in a tactful way, people who are as represented fully in industries and stuff like that, that if they don't see people like themselves, they don't feel that that is an achievable goal. Have you seen people like yourselves? Was this something like, I see a person who's, for HP is a great example. I mean, it had a woman CEO who was on TV. She ran for president. I mean, this is something that people would think this is attainable to me. It's not the same in every company, but how important is that, or should it be, or does it matter at all in a career path? Does that make sense? It was kind of convoluted, but
Yeah.
Okay, Jillian?
No, absolutely. So I would say in general, I've been really lucky throughout my career, right? Really working for companies that have diversity as a backbone, right? And really making sure that you get the right person in the right role, whether that's a woman, whether that's a male, whatever ethnicity that may be, and that being the focus really leads to great things. And just seeing that and being part of organizations that have that make you feel like you belong and you can have an impact. And I think, there's a lot of things that we've done in HP in the print industry and reaching across the lines to be able to do that for creatives or designers or directors, right? We partner with Free the Bid, and it's all about making sure that we have and highlight key women and directors in the industry to work on creative projects. We ask our agencies to make sure that they hold that high standard too and request diversity in the folks that are working on our business so we can get the best quality work. And so I think that's a key piece of it, but ultimately, as we sit on this panel working with folks like Diane Holton that we have with AIGA and bringing the creative and the collaboration and pieces to life is another key thing that really, drives that for us.
Eric.
I was also fortunate. Our organization is owned by a board of directors, and there are 4 women and 2 men who own it. So I feel like I've always been a part of the women-owned business, or the WeBank, with the print shop and with DirectMail 2.0. But I will say there is a massive shift going on, and I feel it, and I don't know about you guys, but we have a voice, and that voice is getting louder and louder. You see it on LinkedIn, you see it, the buzz in the associations. As Tonya was saying, there's, different groups that are being created and coming together. And I really do feel like a shift is happening, even just walking around now. I know we have a long way to go, but the most important thing is that it's happening, and we can see that spark, and we just have to fan it into a really strong flame.
Heather.
So I too have been lucky enough to work for companies that really are encouraging diversity. Ricoh really encourages that as well. I don't think I ever really looked at it like that, though. I kind of just saw, what was the job, what needed to be done, who were the people. I didn't really look to kind of see how many people were women, how many were men. It was just, we were all there striving toward the same goal. So I never really kind of saw it separated out like that. But I do see how, if you look around and you're in a company where it's all the same type of person, you might question whether or not you fit in there. But that kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. When you're looking at companies, you're also interviewing them, and to look for companies that empower you, that do encourage diversity, that's extremely important.
So I think, again, similar to Heather, I was fortunate, especially as I moved into the print industry. I gravitated towards companies that did have, I think, quite a bit of diversity. So I had that positive experience, but we would talk to other areas that were kind of connected to the print, but maybe a little outside, that weren't quite feeling that. And so that's why I think we are seeing these movements and hearing a lot more in the community and the industry about pulling together and finding ways that we can help the community find those connections. So I know from our side, we are looking internally. We're working on developing director leadership programs, and it's not specifically always tied to women, but you're seeing a significant representation. We have the representation in there. Lisa and I actually just graduated through one of those director development programs.
Lisa.
Yes. So we've got women all the way up that are, we're seeing advancements all the way to the executive level, like Ann-Louise King, who's our vice president of finance, an area I have no strengths in, but she's amazing in it. Thank God she is.
I like it because she pays me.
Exactly. And so nice too about it.
Yes.
And then all the way, when I was talking to our HR sometime back about a few other things, and it was just discussing the people and how do we find the people where they really work to be proactive. Obviously they want as much diversity as they can, and I found it interesting. We do have women all the way up at the executive level, but women all the way down into our service field techs, in which I didn't realize, but yes, there are women out there that they're looking out for that type of job, and we're actually finding women in these types of positions across the board. And we're also looking to help our customers make those connections, because there are more, we do have quite a few women business-owned companies that are customers, and we love working with these ladies doing some amazing things, but there's still a need to build connections. So we actually launched at the Think User Group in conjunction with Think a women in leadership luncheon, and really want to try to help build those connections as customers, women running these print industries. Is there a way we can help facilitate the conversation and help share best practices?
Cool. Does anyone have any questions for our panel? Excellent,
wow.
sir. Brave guy. I like you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Dennis Sheldrick, and
Can you speak up, Dennis? We can
yes,
hear you.
thank you,
sir.
My name is Dennis Sheldrick, and I'm associated with Hewlett-Packard, but I've been working in print since I was in high school. I'm not going to say how long ago, but let's just say the last century. Thank you very much for great observations and comments. I'm trying to help young folks. My granddaughter's here with me, and I'm mentoring her through, but I'm also trying to help, thank you, in our local area, our community college with the graphic arts program. One of the things I would like to see some comments on, many of you ladies are in leadership and high-level roles. You've worked your way there, but how do you get your foot in the door in the operations? I read an article in Printing Impressions by a gentleman whose name I can't remember, but
Sir, I'm sorry,
people are
could you
afraid to get their hands in ink. How do you get started in operations, which is totally, male-dominated, most of the plants I've seen? And are they hiring girls to run presses and do stuff to kind of work your way up?
I mean,
Thank you.
I can tell you, I'm sure everyone can answer, but I can tell you that I went to Interpack with HP, and I literally started a Girls Who Print campaign because there must have been 5 press operators who were women in that booth, and they were young women, and they loved these presses. They were in there. I mean, I'm telling you, they were in these presses. They were so proud of these presses and what they could do and how they were talking to people. And it was, I started I gave them all Girls Who Print buttons, and we just took pictures with them, and the photos almost went viral because you could see that they loved it. All of you might not have that situation, but you certainly work with customers who have presses.
So I was going to say, on our end, we do work with customers. We've been working very closely with a lot of different universities with intern programs, and we bring interns in across a variety of different departments, including into our product marketing and our CEC. So actually, I have Valentina here on my team who came from Clemson.
Hi, Valentina.
And now is on our marketing team. But she does a lot of work, customer facing, running presses, providing print samples. So I mean, she's a prime example. So we do work with the students students, and mostly with Clemson, but a variety of other universities as well, to bring those interns in and help introduce them to the different types of opportunities within Canon specifically. But you're right, we have a lot of customers that are also having the same challenges. I know I saw on social media today SBC's here, and there's
Yes.
a job fair, and he's promoting, trying to get young people in, and highlighting all the exciting things that
Yeah.
SBC specifically is doing
Ryan
in their
actually
organization.
created, he had
Ah.
Girls Who Print cookies
Yes.
made, and he gave them to
Yes.
his entire organization,
And-
and then he brought some here to give them to
And
us.
he's also did a very lovely post about Girls Who Print too, as well, and he had a nice little shot
Yeah.
of all the ladies at their
This
offices.
guy is awesome,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and he is working with Kiki, who is from Clemson, and she is helping him. I mean, this is a younger brother in a family-owned business
Yep.
who sees that there's not enough women and diversity in print, and he's taken on himself, honestly. He's taken on this initiative himself. He speaks at schools. He's empowered Kiki to be the one who handles it. So it's really amazing. Would anyone else like to address how we entice people to get into the? Oh, we've got another question. Where's Jamie the printer?
I just wanted to make a contribution. I run a print shop in St. Lucia in the Caribbean. And I've been there for 30 years. I probably am the only woman in the Caribbean who actually owns a print shop.
Wow.
I have offset presses, and I run a digital shop. So obviously, as a woman, I like to dress up, but I like to get my hands dirty with ink as well.
Excellent.
And I try to encourage women very much to get into this industry because I feel we have a better eye. Sorry, men.
No, that's okay. It's
We have
Girls
a
Who
better
Print Day.
instinct to print, and we're not afraid to work. And I think what I found with women, especially with the bigger presses, where if they don't want to carry the stock to load the press, and we don't have the privilege of having an apprentice, so they do have to do it themselves. So I think initially that's the discouragement women have. But in my bindery department where we run very big equipment, mostly I like to hire women because they're dependable, they're on time, and they have a better attention to detail. In the digital department, it's quite easy for women to pick up the printing and get onto a digital press, whether it be a Canon or a Konica, any of those machines, because they don't have, it's a shorter run, it's less volume. But I think to get women in printing, it starts with us women getting more into it. Men are not going to encourage women to get into it because they don't think we can. And for me, I got into it just because I happened to be there. I happened to have to make it work. I bought a press. I couldn't depend on the men giving me the information, so I learned it myself. So I think it starts with us women to encourage women into this industry, which is a great industry, and we'd like to see more women in it.
Thanks.
Thank
Theo,
you.
Theo, you have a comment? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Theo Peteres. He is the most award-winning digital printer in Australia, and you are also president of the Graphic Association down there. Is that true?
I was, but now it's the National Printing Association. I'm a national board member. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You have a comment, a question?
Congratulations, ladies, or girls, or ladies, or whatever we can say now these days, on your success. It's commendable. Two things I want to say. First of all, Deb, what's the difference between girls in print and women in print?
Snootiness.
Is it? Yeah.
We're not snooty here. This is, to me, Girls Who Print is just, a way to take out women leadership. Let's dress up and go to the corporate dinner and listen to the paid speaker to come to the event, and let's all pay dues and, have stuff happening. Instead of just talking like regular people with each other and just helping each other. When you need help, you don't need to pay dues. Join the LinkedIn group. I mean, that's all it takes. Send somebody a question, and everybody here is helping each other because we're humans. Yeah. So to me, Girls Night Out, Girls Who Print, Mary Beth Smith is the founder of this group, and that's what she called it, and I will stand by it to my dying day, that I'd rather be a Girls Who Print than a Women in Print leadership, whatever, any day of the week.
Fantastic. Well, let me see.
Thank you. Because it's a point of contention with a lot of people.
Let me see what I can do to sort of encourage it Down
Thank
Under
you.
as well. Also, I didn't get your name, but congratulations on your success. I understand and I feel your pain and what you're saying, but I have to disagree respectfully with some of your comments. I have a small business in Sydney, and we encourage women, girls, as much as possible. We actually want to mix it so we've got an even balance of testosterone, estrogen. I think it's really important in any business. So, yeah, thank you.
Jovan like that. Sound guy's clapping for you. Anybody else have a question or a comment before I ask anybody? Okay, well, think about it. Jamie the printer actually had a question, but I'll ask it for him because he is at a print shop, Princeton Allegra. And if you don't know Jamie the printer, he's been sitting here for 3 days, and he's my checks and balances. He's really a printer. I don't really know if the people on the panel are saying things that are accurate in the real world. I'm sure they believe it's accurate, but that doesn't mean that it manifests that way. So Jamie's my checks and balances, and he's been asking questions to all the panels. But he's also in a print shop, and he needs people. So he just wanted to know in general, in a general sense, not a corporate recruiting sense, but in a general sense, are you guys finding that the graphic communication programs are providing viable options for students to come into the industry? Are you working with them? What are the best paths for people looking for young women and diversity to come in? Where are you looking, I guess, is what his question is in a general sense. Jillian? Was that kind of the question? Perfect.
Yeah. So one of the great examples that we actually have is our partnership with AIGA, and that association has done just a great job for women and males in general to come into the industry and really be able to understand creative graphic and content, and merging that with our print service providers, merging that with brands, and really bringing to life all of what you can do. So as you think about wanting to get into the industry, right? I mean, go to those programs and those associations, because that is definitely a huge piece of where you can go to do that.
Erica.
So we actually take a little bit of a different approach because we're on the direct mail side of print. We work really closely with the post office, and the PCC has just launched an amazing program where they're actually getting out into the universities and into the colleges and teaching them about how 80% of print ends up in the mail, and you can have, a career in this growing industry. It is growing. So I think what print shops need to do is to just make the students aware that they have a place.
Great point.
They have a place to work with you, and and women are welcomed and men are welcomed. And how can a graphic designer have a place in your print shop? How can a woman have a place in your manufacturing facility running the presses? I think it's just an awareness thing at this point.
Thank you so much. Heather Poulin, Ricoh.
I think, too, it's about kind of modernizing print. So, at Ricoh, we're trying to always bring the print experience beyond just print. So, for instance, we're utilizing a lot of AR in our pieces. So, with clickable paper, you don't need the QR code. So, especially in graphic design, you don't need to mess with the design of the piece. And then you can extend the life of that printed piece. So, you can direct people to other resources, whether it's podcasts or videos or web links or photo booths or games. You can extend that experience. And I think especially for the young people that are trying to come into print, we need to make it seem like it's not an ancient old thing. Like
Right.
It's new and it's cool, and there's a ton of stuff you can do with it. So I think that's really important to draw the young talent in.
I always say to people, young people, when I speak to them, that if you want to work for Apple, you want to work for the print industry, because the presses now are giant computer processors. So if you're a technology geek, there is enough marketing and creativity and sales and engineering and science. There are ink scientists. I've met people who graduated MIT with an ink, or there's light scientists, people who figure out the frequency of light in order to react with the chemistry of the ink. I mean, it could freak you out when you talk. By the way, some of these people can't really talk to you. I don't know if you've ever spoken to an ink scientist, but I mean, talking to this pen might get a better reaction out of them, but they're in their little world. But there's so much vastness. So that was a great point. Tonya Powers.
So, I mean, continuing, I really agree. You've got to get the word out there, the education to the students, so they understand that there is an opportunity, and it's evolving, and it could be something of real value and challenge and inspiring that they could be a part of. So the education is key, and we do. Again, I've mentioned before, we work with a lot of students. We go to places like Clemson and just spend time helping educate them on the industry and the opportunities for them across the board. We bring in interns. I think we had a dozen or more this summer alone that came in and just was able to really learn. And the way we helped to educate them was to give them an opportunity to sit one-on-one meetings with top level executives across the business so they can ask their questions and really start to understand, hey, there might be some interest and something that I might be able to contribute to and make a difference. So it's really just reaching out, and I think we can do a better job helping our customers, if they want to set up their own job fairs or they're trying to connect, bringing in, those partnerships and going into those job fairs or reaching out to the local universities with their graphics communications businesses and helping educate in that way as well.
And if people in the booth aren't aware, today is Student Day, and there's also a career fair going on for students. Right there, I could see the banner. If you have a print shop, if you have an opportunity, if you have a moment to help a student, go over there and see how you can participate. If they want money, right there, sir, Workforce Solutions, right on the other side of this wall. If they need money, give them money. If they need something printed to help them get the word out, help them print it. We're all in this together. And Girls Who Print, you are a shining example. I can't thank you enough for your support of this event today and this day and this initiative. And I will be calling upon you all again to, get involved in the mentorship thing, which your companies already are. We're going to give out the Girlie Award in like 2 minutes. So thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody here. There's a lot of people here. Thank you very much.